Hi everybody, Mark Michaels here, Performance Horse Central. We've got some special guests here today. We are at Rice Performance Horses with Mr. Tarin Rice and Miss Katie Rice. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
So, the biggest championship of your career recently here, Catolena Cashin In, a 230-point run at the Super Stakes. Tell us a little about what was going through your mind when, as that run kind of finished out and the buzzer went off and the score comes up.
It was just it was a blast. The horses worked good the whole show. Marked 225 the first round. Came back, showed very conservatively in the second round. Marked 19. Showed way too conservatively in the semis. Got lucky. Marked a 19. Needed to show more aggressive in the semis. I felt like just to make sure that you make it. We'll get done, have a few days there before the finals, and my dad called me on the way home from the show there one day. I was driving home, and he said, "Hey," he said, "I didn't talk to you." He said, "How's your horse working?" I said, "Hey, good. It feels really good, and I think we got him ready." He said, "Well, you gonna step up and actually show him, or are you gonna wait in the herd and jack around and not get up there and try to win, or
Yeah.
He's like, "If he's ready, then get up here and let's try to win. Let's get it on." And I said, "All right, well, that sounds good." So that was that. And then I asked Spud one day also, said, something about getting the horse ready and trying to be as prepared as possible. And Spud said, "Listen," he said, "the horse is perfect. Everything's working good. All that's fine." He said, "The only difference in what you need to do is," he said, "you need to drive as far up to that judge's stand as you can." And he said, "That horse looks the best when you can let him move big and let him get away from that cow a little bit." And he said, "Drive him way up there and send him out past it and let him get away." He said they won't beat you. And I tried. Those were the two things I had in mind: was cut aggressive and drive way up. And they were both right.
He's such a phenomenal horse. He's got a very different style of moving. We haven't seen that since his dad, since raising the Cash. Talk to us a little bit about the similarities that you feel, maybe what you saw in him and what you feel in Axel.
I never got to work raising the Cash. I've worked several of Gary's horses, and kind of have an idea of how it would have felt. Obviously, maybe the ones I worked weren't as strong as him, or whatever, but they moved the same. Gary has the move on there. It's very trained in. And this horse, to me, it's obviously as close as anything I've ever felt to what I think raising the Cash would have felt like. A lot of similarities. They're both very low-headed. Both. One of the main similarities I feel is when I try to go across the pin on this horse, and if I put my leg on him real strong to go, he feels like he's in between a trot and like he knows I probably need to lope to get over there, but he's trying to trot, and it's this little stutter step, and he gets lower as he goes. And watching the videos, that's the same thing Elvis did, and it feels like he's ready at any moment to just lock down, and that feels really good.
Yeah, well, his head never gets above his withers.
No, yeah, you can't get it. You can't get it above his withers for sure.
Yeah. Katie, what was going through your mind? I mean, you prepare the horse. You know him better than anybody. What was it like watching Tarin go through those 2.5 minutes?
Oh, it's so hard to explain that. You're sitting there the whole time thinking, "Oh my goodness," you just want everything to go good, him to get cows out there. I always tell Tarin that I don't mean this in any other thing, but a very huge compliment. His cuts always make me the most nervous on that horse. Sometimes when they get to working, I get so excited watching him or something. You think, is this going how I think it is? Is this really looking how I'm thinking it looks? And thank goodness it did. A lot going through my mind. I kept looking on that last cow. I think the lower they got to the ground, the lower I was getting. I was very glad nobody was videoing me during that.
Don't know that yet.
Yeah. Well, I hope not. Yeah, to be determined, right?
Then this will show up on Facebook.
Oh, geez, yeah. Anyways, the whole time they're working that third cow, I thought, how much time do we have left? And I was watching Tarin, watching the time, and I thought, okay, we got it. Last 5 seconds right there. I thought, I don't know.
What did it mean to you, Tarin? Because had some tough luck at the Futurity, and those cows in the finals, that was just a crapshoot there anyway. You come to Abilene, you're a finalist there. I believe you were a reserve champion at the Ike, champion at Arbuckle.
Switch that.
around.
Yep,
Okay,
switch that.
reserve and champion, yeah. And then come here and have the run that you know that this horse has had in him, be able to put it all together. What did that mean for you?
Yeah, it meant a lot. The horse has tried to do his job every time I've shown him, and the one time we didn't get him shown was the Futurity Finals, which was unfortunate, but that's the way it goes, and that's fine. But yeah, it meant a lot. I do feel like that's the first time I've had 3 clean cuts, that I've had 3 really good cows, and it's also the first time I've shown him that good. Nervous as all get out showing him every time I've ever shown him, because I do have high expectations. I don't know why that is, that the nerves get so much more on a good horse when it should be the other way around. He's going to take care of his job, and it should relieve a little bit of tension, but it doesn't. It adds it 100 times. So I do feel like that was the first time that it's actually been, that everything's worked out, just boom, boom, boom. The cows showed up. Ronnie always says at the Fort Worth events especially, that when it's your night, it's your night. And our 3 favorite cows were, Zeb cut a couple that we did like, but our 3 favorites were still right there. And when I quit my first one, I turn around and here's one standing there. Yeah. Chip it off and you go back to work. And quit the second one and walking back in there, and Tatum wanted me to feel of a white cow that he had seen on Zeb's cut that wasn't one of our favorites, and I'm headed back in there to go feel of her, and Dad was hollering the same thing. He's like, try the white one. And as I'm stepping in there to her, the Red Baldy, which was one of my favorites, steps to the outside. Yeah. You go and cut it, and it doesn't have to work like that. Yeah. And it, like you said, when it's your night, it does,
Fell in place, yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. That whole day, we talked about it earlier, the finals that day, that's probably one of the best cuttings we've ever seen anywhere. I mean, 6 sets. I mean, it was just a great cutting all day from start to finish.
Absolutely. It was a blast. Tatum was the first horse to work in the 6-7 finals, and so I was there the whole day helping and watching, and it was a blast. 6 sets of great cows. The cows were as good as you're ever going to see, as good as we've had in a long time at any cutting. It was a blast to watch. Everybody was gunning for it. The cuttings, all 3 paid good. Spud went at it in the 6-7-year-old. That Hiss and Vinegar is a great horse. Yeah. Previous champion there. She can win. And he called on her, chipped his last cow with 32 seconds left, and just got it. It was awesome. And then the same with Kenny. Kenny's horses have such a pretty move, and they stop so pretty, and same deal. He shows them fearless, and it's great. It's a blast to watch.
I don't think we've ever seen that many 220+ scores in one day.
Absolutely, no, it was good.
And it's a great way to finish off 3.5 long weeks of cuttings.
Definitely,
it was a good ending to it. So now, I mean, this was the second event in the Triple Crown. Obviously, we're a quarter of the way through the year. Now the Horse of the Year points start to come into play. You've jumped up now. You're within 6 points of Adan and Allspice. You guys have a pretty good lead in there. Does that change your game plan as far as where you're intending to go or what you're looking to do?
No, not at this point anyways. With two next shows everybody's going to go to. We're going to hit the BI and the Derby for sure. Just go and show, try to do the best we can, and then after that then you might change your game plan as to where you go or how many you go to or whatever, but no, at this point we're just showing.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about Joel Colgrove, the owner of Axel. He's been with your program for several years now. Had CO got you covered with you. That was a phenomenal horse. What does it mean to you to have somebody like that in your program, providing you those horses that he breeds there and keeping your program, feeding you the quality that you're looking for?
Oh, it means everything. You cannot do it without that quality of horses, no matter how hard you work, no matter how good of a job you do, no matter what. And there's too many people that do those same things, that work hard and do a good job. Without the quality of horses, then you're going to get beat. Not to say you can't go and make finals and do good, but you have to have that quality of horses and somebody that's willing to put that much into it to go and be at that top level consistently anyways, and it's it means everything to have that. Gotcha was the first horse we had for Joel. He had tried to buy him, throughout his 3-year-old year, and him and Finest went back and forth. He finally got him bought as a 4-year-old, and we had a blast showing him, and it's went from there, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the Rice name is synonymous with cutting. Your dad, Boyd, I mean, he's been around and been very successful, both in the cutting and the cow horse world now. You and Tatum, coming up through there. You've got Uncle Ronnie there. There's Tag. I mean, there's a whole bunch of Rice family there. What does it mean for you to have that much depth to be able to fall back on or to ask for help?
No, it's everything, and it always has been. I mean, you start from the bottom up, and Dad teaches you everything there is to know about a horse, or the best he could, the best that we could. I'll say this: he probably tried to teach us more than we tried to pick up. So that's a huge thing. And then the majority of the family has been lucky enough to work with Ronnie, and Ronnie's the best to work with, to work for, whatever. He's great to get along with. He works extremely hard. There's a lot of thought process put into the training deal. I think that of all the people I've been around, the thought process of the training the horses, Ronnie's is the best. The idea behind it. I mean, he can figure out what's going to train this horse and what's going to train this horse, and put that thought process into play each day. And it's not just the same he tries to actually figure out what makes each horse tick, and just learning all that stuff from him, is amazing. He would go weeks and not say a word about training, and then one day he would coach for 3 days, tell you everything that you messed up or that you did good or whatever, and then he wouldn't say anything again for a while, let you work through it, whatever. But yeah, just the best. And then you've got Tag and Tatum there also, of both obviously great showmen, the experience that Tag always tells me. I'll tell him something and he's like, listen, anything that you think you're gonna do or have a thought, I've already done it, I've already been there, and you can throw that back and forth, and then Tatum has a great thought process on the whole thing also, and he's heard all the same stuff that I heard, and it helps that he did the same thing. He grew up with Boyd, then he went to work with Ronnie and Tag, and he if you have every now and then he'll say something that you're like, oh, I remember that they said that, because he heard the same stuff and he has a good memory, and it just it's everything to be able to throw that back and forth between everybody.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you and Katie, you've got the family going well and truly now. You've got the kids coming up, Charlie and Tell, and Charlie's playing some ball now. How has your role, or how has your life kind of changed as far as being totally focused on the arena to now you're coaching a little softball, you're handing out black eyes, you're
it changes a lot, well, I would say when we were working at Jacksboro, it was just me and Katie.
Yeah.
We didn't have any kids, and you worked 15, 16, 18 hours at the barn. Yeah. That's what you did, even that, and we enjoyed it. We liked the work. When we got done working cutting horses, we went and roped. You were still doing stuff with horses, finish up at the barn, you do your deal of an evening, whatever, you go to bed, and you go back to the barn together the next morning. Now that we've got 2 kids, one 6, one 2, it changes everything. Katie's time is 98% spent with the kids. Yeah. That's most important to us is getting the kids raised how we think they should be, right or wrong, whatever, but how we think it should be. And so I lose that help at the barn, and that's just part of it, and it has been a bit of an adjustment of trying to figure out that balance of not having that help and somebody else needing to fill it, then also of trying to balance the time spent with the kids with also making a living, and that's the hardest balance there is, of just trying to, you have to work hard and you have to spend time with this, and it's a very demanding way to make a living. takes a lot of time on the phone, you know, selling horses, buying whatever. It's a constant.
It's nonstop.
It is 24/7, absolutely. So, you know, you try to balance that the best you can and spend as much time with the kids as possible. Charlie started the softball here earlier this year, and that's a blast. I wish I could be head coach, but we've got to be assistant since we're gone so much, you know. Baby steps, exactly, baby steps. But it's a blast. We have a good time. We like baseball. We like playing catch of an evening, and yeah, that's a good time.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of family, I know we had a celebration of life this morning for Mr. Bernie Kirkland. I know he was near and dear to you guys' family and to your heart. Tell us a little about that. Let's share a Bernie story. Everybody's got one.
There's a lot of Bernie stories. You know, they talked about at the memorial there that there was a lot of Bernie-isms, you know, and I was telling these guys one of them that he used just constantly. That every 5 minutes, Bernie, he'd say, "Hey, Haley." And he was making fun of Boyd because Boyd would ride over to the fence and say, "Hey, Haley, you know, give me something to eat. Hey, Haley, did this." And Bernie, it stuck forever. And Bernie said, "Hey, Haley," at least 100 times a day when we were at those shows. But Bernie was a very good friend of ours. You know, they were talking also there that just all the funny things, but all the good things he did. I have a golf bag. I've only ever had one. Bernie gave it to me. It was old. It was his. He used it forever, and it was old when he gave it to me and wore out. And it's only got more wore out. So one day we're at the golf course there, and Bernie told me, he said, "Well, you need a new bag." And I said, "Well, how come?" He said, "Well, it's all old and wore out. It's falling apart, you know." And I said, "Well, hey, Bernie, you gave it to me." He said, "I did." I said, "Yeah." I said, "A couple years ago when we started, you gave it to me." I said, "You don't remember that?" And he said, "Well, I'll tell you this." He said, "When you give somebody something," he said, "if you truly wanted them to have it," he said, "you forget about it." And he said, if you give somebody something only to be reminded by them that you gave it to them or that you want to hear thanks for it all the time, then you didn't give it to them for the right reasons." And there's a lot to that. You know, everybody talk all the funny times we had with Bernie, but he had a lot of life lessons that he gave us too.
Yeah, he did. And that speaks volumes about who Bernie was, because that was truly Bernie. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for sitting down with us today and giving us the insight a little bit. It's been great to come out and talk to you about it, and we can't wait to watch him at the BI and wishing you best of luck. And
Appreciate
we'll see
it.
you down the road.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you.
Thank you all.